Good afternoon. Hi guys, I'm Sunshine. This is the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. And this is my prettiest. Look at this one. It's a metallic. I don't remember where I got it. I don't remember what it's called, but it's very shiny and it's very light. Very light. And it's very pretty. Okay, all right, it's Friday evening. What a nice scramble. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Alrighty. Okay, there's the 5x5, here's the 4x4. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay. All right. Two. Here's the 2. Here's a 3. Did everybody have a good day? And 2. All right. Okay. Okay. Formula A is 4 moves. Formula B is 8 moves. And that's with A and B, that's all you need to solve every complexity Rubik's Cube, from a 2x2 up through as big as it wants to go, as big as you can hold in your hand. And this is not a speed solving method. This is not a fewest moves method, but it is geared for non-cubers and newbies who think they can't learn. When I teach it total teach time of less than 2 hours, and you can learn. And with just these 2 formulas, you can solve every complexity Rubik's Cube. It does not address parities, because parities are a lie. They can be undone with a single quarter turn. And I'm happy to explain that when questioned. But in the meantime, just Formula A and Formula B. Formula A brings a piece to the top, specifically the corners, but also the absolute centers and anything on the first face. Formula B moves 3 pieces around, one row, 2 columns, and the 2 columns, it's always the top row, and the 2 columns dictate which pieces are moving. But either way, it's every other move is a horizontal, every other horizontal is the reverse of the one before it, and then in between the horizontals, there's for every up there's a down, and for every down and for every left there's a right. So it's a commutator, it's a mathematical 0, and so it only moves 3 pieces around. And so it doesn't matter if you're doing your first few moves of the solve or the last few moves of the solve. It still can be done with just Formula A and just Formula B. And it's fun. All right. Thanks for joining me. All right. let's do the void cube today. There's 8 corners. Every cube has 8 corners. Whatever cube you have, it has 8 corners, and so you pick a corner. That corner has 3 colors, and you pick a color. I always start with yellow because all of my cubes seem to be advantageous for that, including my wood even 3x3x9 also works well to start with the yellow. And this one doesn't have a white or a black. Opposite yellow is red on this one. Not every cube is the same standardized color notation, but everything has yellow as far as I've found so far. I create and destroy this world. Alright, so I pick a corner that has a yellow on it, and that corner is correct because I just selected it, and I'm all powerful, you're all powerful with the cube, and we're going to make the rest of the cube match it. That cube is correct, and everything else will be moved to match it. We used to work, back in the 80s, we used to work around the absolute center piece because the absolute center was never changed in relation to itself. It was one piece, an internal piece. That stopped being relevant when we moved to 4x4s. But the corners can only be correct to each other in one way, and so if we can always start with the corners, and that will dictate what side the colors want to be when you don't have an absolute center that dictates. So here's a yellow. I'm holding the cube and looking at the front of the cube as if it were a spreadsheet with rows and columns, and my beginning corner is under my left thumb, and it's protected. So I look at the corner I'm ignoring everything but the corners until the corners are done. And so I look at the corner that's under my right thumb, and if it has a yellow on it, formula A will bring it to the top. If it doesn't, I look at the corner below it, and as long as there's a yellow in one of these 2 corners, formula A will bring it to the top face. If there's not, you rotate the bottom row by quarter turns until there is, but you'll always find, and we're going to bring yellow to the top until it's on top on all 4 corners, and we're ignoring everything else. So formula A is 4 moves, bottom row, right column. If you knew the middle row and the middle column, you'll end up with boxes. It's the way to move the center in relation to the rest of the cube. So formula A, bottom row, right column. This piece is going to come up here. I'm going to start by moving it away from the action. The action's happening over here. Then I move this space down. I move the cube into the space, and the cubey and the space back up again, and until the yellow's on top, however many times that takes. When the yellow's on top, I hold the cube stable, but I rotate the top row to move this cube over under the protection of my left thumb, and I continue with this one. There's a yellow here or here, so formula A will bring it to the top. And it will be 5 or less because 6 gets you back to a start, wherever you were when you started. And not a solve necessarily unless you started with a solve. Yellow's on top, slide the top. Yellow somewhere on this corner, yes. So formula A. Out, down, and up until the yellow's on top on all 4 corners. When the yellow's on top on all 4 corners, then we look at the sides to see if the sides match. And one of 3 things will happen. Either all of the sides match in relation to themselves, or none of them match in relation to themselves, or one side matches. You'll never have 2 or 3 that match if they don't all match, because of the nature of the cube. So on this one, all the sides match without any further action. So we'll move on to another one. Here's yellow. No yellow here, but there's a yellow here. So formula A, same thing. I'm going to bring all the yellows to the top on this cube as well. Okay, yellow here, slide to protect it. That one's already on top, slide it again, keeping the cube stable. No yellow here, so I rotate the bottom by quarter turns till the answer is yes. And then formula A brings it to the top. Okay, now for this one, all the sides matched. For this one, one side matches, 3 of them do not. Okay, So if you have none of the sides that match, it doesn't matter which way you hold it to do the next step, but if you have one side that matches, you want to hold it so that that's facing away, away as you're holding the cube, as if you were in a car driving away. And then we're going to do formula B, which is going to move 3 pieces around, slide up, slide up, slide down, slide down. And then before we do anything else, so it looks like we've messed up we've messed them up, but we have not. We've moved them around, and we already know how to bring the color back to the top. So we go right back to formula A to bring the color back to the top. Slide and keep going. Keeping the cube stable, moving only the top row to keep giving us a corner that we can act on in our top front right. Okay, and so yellow's back on top, and these corners all match to each other. So these ones are both have the first 4 corners done. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. I'm just going to go through these ones. So having the first 4 corners done, we're going to put the first 4 corners down, face down, and we're going to abandon our yellow, trust it to take care of itself. And we're going to work on the second 4 corners, which are the color that is whatever color is opposite yellow. Now, if in a standardized cube, that's going to be white, and if you can tell, there's a white on all 4 of these corners, so it is indeed white. But on this one, it's not. So we have to look at the 4 corners to see what color they all have in common. And as a hint, it's not going to be any color that touches the yellow, because it's going to be on the opposite side. So it's not going to be green or purple or blue or orange, so it is red. And here's a red, here's a red, here's a red, here's a red. Okay, so our yellows are correct to each other, so we're going to work on the second color. On this one is red, and this one's going to be white. So here, this one's red's on top already, this one red's on top already. So I'll start with the corner under my right thumb that does not have a red, and I'm going to do formula A, out, down, in, up. And remember I said I'm abandoning my yellows. If I look at the yellow before the reds are on top, it's going to look like I've messed it up. But I haven't, and if I wait until the reds are on top again, the second color is on top, the yellows will have resolved themselves, and so it won't be an issue. Or you can just use it as time to practice more. I don't care. Okay, so when the red's back on top, the yellows are still happy with each other. They're all in the same face, and the sides match. So again, we look to see if the sides match. Orange does not equal green, purple does not equal orange, green does not equal purple, but the blue matches. So I hold the cube with the matching facing away from me, and the next step is formula B and then A to bring the color back to the top. The second 4 corners are done the exact same way the first 4 corners are done. So slide up, slide down, and formula B did not mess up my oranges, my yellows. Okay, and formula A done 6 times will not. So when you're using this method, you're only altering the pieces that you want to be altering when you do it. So I moved 3 corners around, and now I'm going to use formula A to bring it back to the top. Okay, red's on top, color's on top, slide the top to protect it. Continue with this corner. More formula A. Red's on top, slide it and continue. Formula A until the red's on top. And when your color is back on top, this time the sides will match because it had one before. So the yellows are still happy with each other, the first 4 corners. Second 4 corners are also happy to each other. All that's left is to rotate the top until it matches the bottom. And so these 8 corners are complete on this cube. And our yellows are happy, so opposite yellow is the white. There's a white on all 4 corners. Okay, so I'll just start somewhere. And formula A until the white is on top on all 4 corners. And then and only then do we check the yellows again. It's Friday. Did you guys have a nice week? Do you have any wonderful plans for the weekend? And when the white is on top on all four corners, then you can check and see that the yellows are still happy. Green does not equal blue, orange does not equal green, but red equals red. So the matching side faces away, and the yellows are happy. After I do formula B, up, up, down, down, you'll see that the yellows are still content. And then we do formula A to bring the whites back to the top. That's 1, that's 2, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, that's 3, 4, slide, out, down, in, up, that's 5, out, down, and up, that's 6, and so yellow's back on top, and the white's back on top, yellows are still happy. Okay, so these both have all 8 corners correct to each other. This cube and this cube both have all 8 corners correct to each other. Okay, I'm going to set this one aside. I've been training my eyes to look for the yellow and white on the standard cubes, and so I'm going to continue looking for yellow or white anywhere in the middle. After the corners, I'm going to work on the edges, because the corners have dictated what side the colors are going to be, and if I get the edges there, that's going to be a solid framework for the rest of the colors. Most people go center out, which is perfectly logical way to do it. It does increase the probability of a parity, though. I do corners, then I do out to in. But holding the cube so that yellow and white are left and right, I'm going to look for a yellow or white edge piece anywhere in the middle between the corners. And I'm going to rotate the cube as I do until I've found all of the yellows or whites that are in the middle. So here's one. The active colors on top, active color being the yellow and white, because I'm working on solving the opposite edges. And so active color on top, not the front. If it is, I'll flip it. So at this point in time, the corners are set, so that we move the corners together as a set. So bring the corners to match the front, and so the orange corners match the orange front. It's going the yellow direction, so we look at which the yellow and orange edge piece is going to land somewhere above the yellow and orange and something else corner. So this piece will move here, and it's still going to be formula B, but instead of moving the outside corners to move outside edges, columns, I know words, outside columns to move the corners, we're going to move to an outside and an inner column to move the edges around. So the first column is where this piece, we're going to apply it to this piece. So the first column is where we want it to land, and the second column is where it begins. And then, of course, the top row. And so we start, since it's moving over here, we start by moving it away from the action. So we move it away, first up, back, second up, away, down, back, down, and this piece is now placed properly. So continuing to hold the cube yellow and white are left and right, I look for another piece. Here's a white one, but this one's on top, so I'll do this one first. Bring the corners to match the front. Determine its direction. It's red. It's going in the white direction, so that would be over here, this side. Away, up, in, second up. Away, down, in, down. It's just one row, 2 columns. Over and over and over again. It is always 1 row and 2 columns. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. 8 moves. Here's another one. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction, the white corners. So this is our first column. This is our second column. Up, up, down, down. Okay. Here's another one. Corners match the front. Determine its direction. Away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, down. 8 moves. Okay. This one, our color's in the front. We want it to be on top, so we flip the cube, but yellow and white are still left and right. Bring the corners to match the front. Determine its direction. and away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And we're just placing the pieces one at a time. You'll notice I'm not taking the time to say, oh, here's my red and here's my white and green. Where's the other white and green? Let's pair up all of the edges and then move on. No, I don't spend my time looking for the pieces. I just find it, line it up to where it wants to be, throw it in the direction it wants to be, and they will match themselves up naturally, so I don't have to worry about any smart algorithms to do that. Formula B is sufficient. Okay. And I do this over and over again for as long as there's a yellow or white in the middle, between the corner columns. Okay, so here's one, corners match the front, it's going in this direction, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And I'm going to keep doing this for as long as there's a yellow or white in the middle, and then when I run out of yellow or whites, then I will reassess on how things are going. So, yellow's in front, so I flip the cube, yellow and white are left and right. Make the corner move the corners to match the front, determine which direction it's going. And both of these want to move out, so I'm going to put, not only am I going to put this one here, I'm going to place this garbage piece down here as well, just to save me time. Up, up, down, down. Okay. Again, corners match the front, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. All right. And another one. This one wants to go here. Slide up, up, slide up, slide down, slide down. Active color on top, being the yellow or white, which is left and right. Bring the corners to match the front, and then throw it in its direction by starting to move it away, up, in, up, away, down, and down. Okay. Yellow and white left and right, corners match the front, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay, nothing here or here. There's one here. Okay. All right, so nothing here, here, here. I've run out of yellow or whites in the middle. So now I assess to see if the sides are done. The red ones are between the red, the white ones are between the blue, the blue ones are between the blue, the oranges are between, etc. So they're all correctly placed. If they're correctly placed, we move on. If they're not, if this piece is here and this piece is here, we throw a garbage piece into the spot that's incorrectly placed. That will move it out to the middle where we can place it. And then when we run out of yellow and white again, we'll reassess again. So when the opposite edges are done, then I put white face down, and I'm going to continue working on edges, but I'm going to work on the side edges. All right, so white is face down. It'll be my visual clue for the columns that I'm working on if I need that, because I get bigger and bigger cubes. But in the meantime, so check the sides. This one's correct, this one's not. So I'm going to use Formula B to displace. I'm going to displace one of my yellows into this spot so that it will be on the top where I can place it to the sides, because B places an edge from the top front to the side front. So I'm going to displace one of my yellows into this incorrect spot. Up, up, down, down. And then the piece on the back is the one that I just put there. And so at this point in time, I'm ignoring everything that's on top. I'm ignoring everything on top except for the one piece that doesn't belong on top, and I'm going to place that one piece at a time. So the corners and opposite edges are there to be a visual clue for me. So this piece is blue and red. So I hold the top row, and I rotate the entirety of the cube except for the top row until the corners, as defined by the bottom here, match the front. Because we're ignoring the top corners, we're ignoring the entire yellow side. So the corners match the front. We determine the second color, which direction it's going to go, and we place it the same way as we did. Top row, first column, second column. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, and that gives us another piece to focus on. We're going to keep doing this until the yellow piece I displaced comes back to the top layer, either correctly or incorrectly placed. It doesn't matter as long as it comes back anywhere onto the top layer again, then we reassess. So bring the corners to match the front, determine its direction, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, and the yellow made it back to the top, so now we reassess. The corners are lined up, so that makes it easy. These pieces are not where they want to be. These pieces are not right. These are correct. So we're going to leave the ones that are correct, and we're going to displace a yellow again into a space that's not correct. So this one's not correct, and it lines up with this one. So we're going to displace this into this space, and then continue more of our sides. Out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. Corners match the front. It's going in this way. Up, up, down, down. Corners match the front. It's going this way. Up, up, down, down. Corners match the front. Sorry, forgot to move my marker. Okay, it's going in the blue direction. Up, up, down, down. And the yellow found its way back to the top, so we reassess again. Okay, this one's correct, this one's not. These ones are, this one's not. So we're going to displace the yellow back again into one of the incorrect places and continue. Okay, corners match the front. Yellow is down until the edges are completely done. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Up, up, down, down. Not yellow on the piece on the top that's not the top color. Bring the corners to match the front. Determine its direction. Away, up, and up, down, down. And the yellow found its way back to the top, so we reassess again. And this time, this side is complete, this side is complete, this side is complete, and this side is complete. At this point, this is what it wants to look like, the cage. But if you have, this is where you would see a parity if you have a parity. And parity is where there are two pieces and only two pieces that need to be exchanged. Like this piece wants to be here, this piece wants to be here, or this piece wants to be here, this piece wants to be here. It can show up on different faces as well. But anytime there's two edges and only two edges that need to swap with each other, that's a lie. That's a parity, and parity is a lie. There's always, if there's one piece to move, there's always three pieces to move. And if you only see two, the piece that you do not see, the third piece, is literally the piece that you do not see. It is the layer, the slice that touches that parity. That slice is a quarter turn off. And so if you make that slice a quarter turn and then solve the edges again in that orientation, the parity has disappeared, poof, and you don't have to memorize parity algorithms. I mean, you can, they're fun, but you don't have to. It's just an option now. I was going to see if I could I got a parity on this one. So yellows are done, reds are done. So instead of yellow and white are left and right, I now have to say yellow and red are left and right. Doesn't rhyme, but that's okay. So I'm looking for yellow or reds. Here's one. Working with the opposite edges first. Bring the corners together as a set to match the front. It's going to land above the green and red. It's going to land above the green and red something corner. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay, here's another red. I want it to be on top, so I flip it. Yellow and red are still left and right. Bring the corners to match the front, determine its direction. Away up, in, up, away down, in, down. And the reason I'm looking to see if I get a parity on this one is because you can get a parity on the void cube that can't show up on the 3x3. And the reason why it can't show up on the 3x3 is that if you have a void, it's very obvious what caused it is that the center is a quarter turn off. The only way you can get a parity on the void cube is because you can't see the parity, the center row, so you don't know if it's off or not until you either have or don't have a parity. So, okay, here's another red going in this direction. Okay. Yellow and red are left and white. Corners match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Okay, here's another one. Active colors on the front when I want it to be on top, so I flip the cube, but opposite edges are still opposite. Away up, in, up, away down, in, down. Okay. Another opposite color, bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction, away, up. Do, 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 do. Let's see who's here. I don't see the person who tried to get my attention as I was logging off yesterday. So, that is sad. Corners match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Up, up, down, down. That's not yellow or red. 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 So I check and see how we are. Yellow is correct to itself and the red is correct to itself. So now we check the sides. We've got 1, 2, 3 that are incorrect. So we're going to displace a yellow into one of the incorrect sides. And then bring it to match the front, place it again. And because I had a side that was flipped, it's going to flip my yellow. So the yellow is back up to the top layer, but it's not correctly placed, so we check the sides. This one is correct, this one's correct, this one's not. So I will displace my yellow again. And look at the color on top that's not the top color. Line it up. Going in this direction. Okay. Last piece here, line it up. Okay, and we have here, this is a parity. If I keep going, it'll look again. But every edge piece, everything is placed except for this edge piece, which wants to be there, and this edge piece that wants to be here. So if I place this piece down here, then I'll still have a parity. But so right now they're adjacent. If I place this one here and move these three around, it'll still have a parity, but it'll be opposite each other. The parity can look a lot of different ways, but the parity is always caused by the exact same thing, so it's always solved by the exact same thing. Oh, except I put it the wrong way. Sorry. I put the yellow down there in the wrong direction. Let's try that again. Okay. Okay, so the parity now is opposite itself. This one wants to be here, this one wants to be here. And so if you're color neutral, it doesn't matter which way you do it, but I've got my yellow still on top here. So this piece wants to be here, this piece wants to be here. It looks like there's two, But if I rotate this center 1/4 turn either direction, one of the pieces will now be in its correct place and 3 will not. And so we'll place the side pieces again in this orientation and the parity will go away. Okay, so corners match the front. It's going in this direction. That brings my yellow back to the top again so I can reassess. Okay. All right. And so now we still have 1, 2, 3 pieces here that need to move. So I'm going to displace these pieces. It's harder. The void cube, because of how it's constructed, does not move as smoothly as the other cubes that I have. Reminds me of how awkward the Rubik's Cube was back in the day. Okay, and reset the top. And the parity's all gone. All right. Okay. Anybody have any wonderful plans for the weekend? What are you guys going to do? What fun things are you going to do? Oh, let's see. There's a sticker. I made some stickers. It says AB. Can it focus? Can we focus? Let's see. How do I focus my camera? Anyway, it says www.abcube.how, which is my website. But this is just a stock photo, a stock image. I want to make. I want to have these done again, but this time I want to have my icon, my 5x5 flower icon for my. That represents me. I know words, I just can't use them properly. All right, you guys. Yesterday when I was signing off, as soon as I hit the end stream button, someone said, "No, wait," and so wanted to talk to me. So I'm going to give you guys a chance before I log off to say anything you want to say, ask me any questions you want to ask me. Is there something you'd like me to demonstrate? I'll be happy to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to scramble these so that we can solve them tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. This one, I'm going to just leave that one. All right. The ABCube method works on every complexity Rubik's Cube. It also works on every complexity Minx. You can solve the entire puzzle just using Formula A and Formula B and knowing how to apply it, when to apply it to which one. And so I have not actually formalized, sorry, I've got something on my eye. Haven't actually formalized the video tutorials for the Minxes yet. I've still got to do that. But the abcube.how does have the step-by-step instructions for the cubes and the tutorials. So, all right. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming to play with me. I will be back again tomorrow. And we'll see you then. Bye.